Hey friends, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. So we're coming to you live from Busan, Korea today. It's a great weather, and let's talk stocks. So should you sell your stocks? That's the subject of today's video. And I'm coming to you from Busan. We're hanging out at the beach today, and it's always good to enjoy the summer. So whenever you talk about this thing, make sure that stress is low and you're making a good decision. Why do I mention that? Is because in this kind of volatile period, sometimes people panic. There's Yeji, and make crazy decisions. So that's what you don't want to do, is panic sell. Now, should you sell all your stocks? Guys, everyone's situation is going to be different, okay? I want to say that clearly. First, I'll say, it depends, do you need the money or not, okay? So for example, if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to buy a house the next 6 months or the next year or whatever, right? Like if you need a large sum of money, sure, that makes sense. Or, for example, let's say you don't need the money, you're not going to touch it for 20, 30 years. Probably not great to sell stocks, right? This is something that you always want to be thinking about is like, what is your time horizon? Another thing, it depends on what you're in, okay? I don't know what stocks you're in. I have no idea, right? You can type in the comments like what your allocations are, you can let me know, but again, this is going to be up to you in your particular situation. And so when people say, hey, should I sell my stocks? That's up to you. Don't necessarily, take all the advice from, any sort of random person on the internet that doesn't know your particular situation. I kind of give you general advice on what's happening in the market and also to give you ways to think about things, but ultimately the decision is up to you. Okay, there's another thing to think about, right? Should you sell your stocks? Well, another thing to manage is your risk, okay? So if you feel like that you have all of your money in the market these days and you see your portfolio go up 5% one day, down 5% the next day, up and down, and it's like you're having heart attacks all the time and you can't sleep at night, it's not crazy to de-risk. That's what people do, right? It doesn't mean you sell everything necessarily. It means you leave some in the market, you put some maybe over to treasuries, or you throw some in your savings account. Some people, yes, you're going to hide it in the mattress, but I don't necessarily recommend that. I'm not a big believer in the bank of mattress, but I know some people are. Other things, you maybe have to pay for your kids' education, something like that, right? The way you have to think about these kind of things is that using your money for things, right? Some things are going to go up in value. Some things are going to offer you use value, meaning they're using it right now. You're allocating your money based on what makes sense for you. Now, one of the reasons why the market was freaking out is because everybody's math changed. What was the math that was changing? Well, remember, Japan may be raising rates and the USA may be cutting rates, right? And so that changes the calculation. Suddenly, maybe bonds are going to be a little bit better than they were before. So then everyone's like, oh my God, I'm going to jump in these things. And better is relative. Because say, for example, you look back to, 2008, 2009, 2010, what was that, 14 years ago already, when interest rates are zero, and suddenly you're like, I mean, I'm not getting any return on treasuries. I might as well just throw my money in the market. And then we had this long sort of period where things seemed to only go up. You had a lot of speculation out there. It's been like that for a while, right? You can talk about crypto was when that started, these things. Or you can even talk about, say, 2020, during the COVID thing. I had to think about this. God, it's been 4 years since COVID stuff. I guess I try not to think about it, basically. But what I'm trying to say, though, is that environments change, right? And this is something that I see a lot of new people in the market. They say, well, Chris, crypto had this sort of period before and it came right back. Or my favorite, CEO, Elon Musk, he was doubted before and the stock went down, but he came right back. But guys, environments change, right? In the situation of Tesla, they have more competition now. In the situation of crypto, in my opinion, it's shown that it is highly, highly volatile. So it's not for me. I don't want to see my money drop by half and then theoretically come up by half, but I'm praying every day that it comes back. I'm not, wanting that kind of volatility. Now, other people, maybe they want that. And again, this goes back to the question, should you sell your stocks? It's up to you. Where are you putting your money? What kind of volatility are you comfortable with? And also, too, sort of what are you in? I mentioned this to you guys several times on the channel. It looks like many, many tech stocks are in a bubble, be it from the crypto. It's kind of funny because I was talking about NVIDIA. NVIDIA makes, crypto chips, or, be it from NVIDIA being in AI. That feels like a bubble to me. Some of the things that happen if stocks do take a dive is not everything's going to go to zero, right? Why is that? Well, think about this. Someone like a Mr. Buffett, he sells half his Apple, is sitting on record levels of cash. He's not going to hold all that cash forever and just have like, you know, cash fund. No, he's just waiting for the opportunity to pick up assets that he feels like, hey, this is a fair value, right? Probably waiting things to drop a little bit, and then he'll jump right in. And so there comes a point, right, when the equity prices get so low where people are like, you know what? This is a real company. They have real profits that make real money. I'm going to buy said thing. So that's sort of why you always want to have cash on the sidelines in these kind of situations. Also, too, you want to think about, guys, if you've made, you know, quote, made a bunch of money, we'll just use the example of NVIDIA in the past year or so, you actually haven't really made anything until you sell your stocks, right? Until you actually take those unrealized gains and turn them into realized gains, right? That's something that, you know, for me, I think NVIDIA's in a bubble, so I wouldn't be, you know, in my opinion, like just, for example, something like that, I don't think it's crazy to be like, hey, I'm going to cash in on some of these things. And that's why, you know, people do that kind of stuff because it's like, hey, I'm going to de-risk that one thing and I'm going to put maybe risk in something that makes more sense. Again, you got to pay attention to the environment, and that's sort of why we do the news together every day and trying to figure out what the heck's going on. The other thing too that I think you guys want to be looking at as well, think about what's going on with the election. I know we talk about the election off and on now on this channel because it's coming up in a couple of months. That may change the equation on some of the trades. If one person gets in, we'll say the Republican side, you may see less regulation in some industries. If the other person gets inside, you may see more regulation in some industries, right? And vice versa, depending on which industries that you're in, right? Some industries benefit some years, some industries, you know, hurt other years. So simple example, the green trade, right? So Trump calls all that a scam, so that would be alternative energy kind of thing. So that's an easy one to talk about because it depends on who wins, that'll benefit one. Financials, right? So with the Trump trade, he'd be like, hey, I'm going to deregulate banks, those kind of things. The other party might say, no, we need more regulations on that. My personal opinion on this stuff is I'm for regulation. So I think if you get too much of a Wild West, it becomes unfair for people who aren't in power. And you guys can have your own opinion of that, but I'm just saying these kind of things. I know for some industries like the crypto, they don't want any regulations at all. I understand that. I disagree with you, but you know, we're free to have our own opinions on that stuff. And ultimately though, guys, when we're talking about, you know, money, investing and what you should do, I just think, yes, it's an important thing. I think so. Yes, it's an important thing, but always, you know what, before making any major decision on what to do with whatever, you know, financial situation you're in, take 24 hours to like, hey, think it over. Take a week, hey, think it over, right? Like, never make necessarily rash decisions with major financial stuff, right? Take time to understand the environment, take time to understand the market, and take time to think about what makes sense for you. So hopefully this answers your question. I know I gave you kind of a broad brushstrokes, but honestly, these are important questions to ask, and I try my best to give it to you. So anyway, I'm gonna enjoy the beach some more, and we're just hanging out here, and Yeji's having fun. She's right behind me there. She's it's actually a really great weather day, and we were actually having some chicken down here, and you guys can see kind of the environment. And this is Busan. There's Yeji. Say hi, Yeji. All right, I'll catch you guys later.